What's up, guys? I am Justin Hauser, tournament director and president of New York Kayak Bass Fishing. Been a tournament director for about 10 years, and I am the host of Paddle and Fin's new show, The Director's Cut. I am going to have the opportunity to be interviewing some amazing directors from around the country, from your local tournament trails, and get the inside scoop of what it really takes to run a successful tournament trail. Um, Buckle up. It's going to be fun.
Hey guys, Justin with NYKBF featuring the next tournament trail in our series.
This is my first attempt at a intro, so I don't know. We'll see. It's going to develop for a while, but hey,
I think you did a great job. Great job.
It is what it is. But hey, my first guests are William and Matt from Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing. You guys, I'll let you introduce yourselves and your roles over there at Mid-Atlantic.
So my name is Matt Campbell. I am part of the director team running Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing. I've actually been involved. I started fishing the series the first year it came out in 2013, and I've been involved with helping to run it since about 2015.
My name is William Benini. So I was a part of the Delaware Paddlesports Kayak Bass Fishing Series. We recently merged the two big behemoths here in the Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing and Delaware Paddlesports Kayak Bass Fishing. We merged them together. I am also on Matt's team, and I am also one of the 5 tournament directors for the native No Limit Big Bass Series.
Oh wow, yeah, busy man.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the trail specifically. What is it just you guys, or is there more more directors or more leadership, more people that we want to give shout outs to? Or
Absolutely. And Matt, I can take this one if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
So we run a 5-member leadership team. So one of the things we've always believed in is having a group of not only anglers, but people that are just passionate about the sport. So you see Matt and me here. We do have one identified position. That's Mr. Fetterman, Aaron Fetterman. He is our president. The rest of us just serve as tournament directors and a part of the collective. We also have Alex Fiolka. A lot of people should recognize that name here in the Northeast. We have Becky Robinson joining the leadership team. And then we also do something pretty unique here. We bring in what we identify as angler liaisons. So we want a voice of the anglers that are still competing, not, when you're directing, you're directing and competing, but we wanted voices from competitors. So we bring in 4 people to serve as liaisons to share opinions and help us guide the direction of where the series are going. So huge shout out to Jake Harshman. I'm sure a lot of people recognize that name. Ronnie Robinson, Dennis Campbell, and Ryan Ligonelli. So they make up the collective, but your core leadership team are the first 5 I talked about.
Nice. I like that. I like that idea of having those liaisons. That's a pretty interesting concept. That's pretty cool.
They bring a unique perspective because they're still competing, right? And Matt still competes, and Alex still competes. Me and Aaron competes on a national level. I haven't competed in a while. I've really focused on the director side of it. But they bring in just real world, like, hey, you guys could do this better. And it's nice to have that forum for them to speak up and us make the valuable and important changes.
Yeah, I think that's one thing to always keep in mind too, right? If it's a tournament series, but it's a community before really anything else, and
Absolutely.
making sure that the community is happy is key, right? So tell me, you guys, how did the trail get started? Do you even remember? It's been so long ago, probably, but
The trail actually started originally with Matt Baden. He and there was a couple other folks decided that they wanted to do a little local trail series. And the first year, I think they had 5 or 6 events in 2013. And it was something just, back in 2013 is when I kind of feel like there was a turning point and kayak fishing really took off for a lot of tournament series. KBF was getting bigger and they decided to do a little local series. And they had probably 10, 15 guys, most events. But it was like, hey, let's go, over to the Potomac River or whatever. We'll get a few guys on a Saturday, throw in $20 a piece, and let's have some fun and, see if we can enjoy this together. I mean, a lot of the guys were already, there were small groups that were already fishing together and doing things on the different bodies of water. And they decided to start the trail. And that's what, Matt Beatty got it rolling and he ran it for the first few years. And, since then we've rolled through, a few different folks, but we've continued to grow year after year.
Nice. And so, what would you say? I mean, we'll get into this more later of like kind of your current days. I know you said you started with, just a handful of guys, getting together, but what's a tournament look like for you now in 2023?
I can take this one, Matt. So I'm the analytics guy. I run the numbers and do that. It's a little pet passion of mine. So if you were to take, because remember last year we were operating as 2 individual series. This year we're merging as one large series. Last year we were averaging in the 50 to 52 range from a unique angler perspective. All of the numbers put together right now with year-over-year growth that we've exhibited over the past 2 years in the Northeast and in the Mid-Atlantic specifically, we're slated to average in the 72 to 80 range. I think we'll probably land in that 70 range because there are some changes as we get bigger. Bodies of water have to change and so on. Matt knows a little bit about what's going on. We have some really big surprises from the anglers from a sponsorship perspective this year that I think will draw some attention and without giving too many Easter eggs away. We'll draw some attention from some areas because we're going to do something here that most clubs haven't done before. So we should average in that 70 range is what I'm expecting to turn out.
That's beautiful. And what would you say would be your like regional span? Like where what's your circumference, I guess, or how far out to go?
I mean, historically,
go ahead, Matt.
Historically, over the years, Mid-Atlantic, which is true, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware, that's been our historic map and various body of waters within that region. Typically Northern Virginia up into southeastern Pennsylvania. Okay. And then over to Delaware. Moving forward, we've got a couple of body waters that are expanding that footprint a little bit, and it's an evaluation process moving forward. But I mean, we're going to stay true to our Mid-Atlantic in this first season and get it rolling and, see how the 70 average goes and where we end up for the season and move forward from there.
Do you find that your community, that your diehards would travel those distances and stuff for that? No.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mid-Atlantic, we've typically gone anywhere from Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is, let's say, 45 minutes up south of DC, up to the Susquehanna and Harrisburg, which is a couple hours northwest to the shores of Delaware, which is 2 hours east of DC. So kind of that, 2 to 2.5 hour range from DC has kind of been our sweet spot, and that's what we've always done. I know with the merger with Delaware, they've expanded their footprint over the last couple of years too. They tend to stay. We've done a couple of events further away. Theirs has been more local to Delaware for probably the large majority of their events. But to be honest, we've got guys that have fished both series for several years now, and for the most part, everybody's ready to roll.
That's awesome. That's exciting about two trails, coming together to kind of, build and, kind of make a more elite kind of series and community. That's really exciting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped.
Yeah. So, what do you guys, from those first years, to now, how have you grown, from that first year? What do you like most attribute to your growth? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Are you talking about from a director perspective or from a series perspective,
Yeah,
or both?
really from both. I mean, it could be, things that you or other directors have gone the extra mile and put those those off season hours in, that people might not see normally. Or just what you've done to kind of try to establish that community.
Um, I'll take this. I'll start, Matt, and then I'll let you jump in. So, from a director perspective,
Hmm.
and Justin, we kind of talked about this a little bit through messages. I try and stay in touch with some of the bigger directors around the country.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think we always need to reinvent the wheel, and I think a lot of people get caught in that cycle. Sometimes you can emulate. Sometimes you can take a page out of someone's book, especially if you find a director that you can talk to that's done it for 10 years or 15 years, and you can save yourself the effort of going through the mistakes.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things from a director perspective that has always, and I take that from my professional career too. If there's someone
Yeah.
out there that's doing really well at something, call them and find out what they're doing. And here's the thing, and for all the directors that are listening and the people that are going to listen to this, directors want to talk. They want to let you know what's behind the scenes. It's
Sure.
not this hidden shroud and so on. So that's one of the things I've done, and one of the things I'd love people to know is it might sound cool to, oh, I get to call this person, talk to this person, but it's countless hours on the phone every week.
That's a great.
My kids go to bed. I got 3 kids, and most of the people, fortunately, I talk to a lot of people on the West Coast. At 9 o'clock, my wife's like, okay, you're done. It's fishing mode. And I'm like, yep. And I'm outside, walking, pacing the driveway, talking to people, and so on. Same thing. I've tried to do that with the series. I try to pick the phone up and call the anglers. Hey, how was your event? What'd you like? Did you enjoy it? What was your feedback? Anything we can do better? How? And I've done that every year as we've moved forward. Matt spearheaded. We run an end of the year barbecue at our number one sponsor, Delaware Paddlesports. Right, and Matt was one of the proponents and one of the people that just built that. And it's like a party.
Mm-hmm.
And so while we're all there and the anglers are eating and having a good time, I try and move around through the audience, and it's like, hey, what'd you like? What didn't you like?
Right.
What would you like to see next year? And I think that connection to the anglers is what has grown the series, both of them, exponentially year after year after year after year after year. Because it's quite often an angler. Like this year, we had a couple anglers traveling down from New York to fish with us. We had anglers traveling down from New Jersey to fish with us. And that's the first thing they say when they're done. They're like, whoa, this is different. It's just different. Like it feels like a big family. And that's something that I've tried to keep my hands around with every ounce of my energy. Keep it a family, keep innovating, keep making it better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that goes a long way because I feel like in today's world, you can have that kayak tournament, you can have that 8 hours on a kayak grinding and wanting to place and wanting to win, but what's going to bring people back is that event, is that community, that they can go and talk to the competitors afterwards and learn what worked, what didn't work, and how to do better. And it's just about that community growth. And if people get shut out, and nobody wants to talk to anybody, then that's going to fizzle fast. It's cool that you guys got that going on, because I really think that's important. It's really neat. So would you say that when with your tournaments? And again, I know it's both. But would you say that you try to focus more on the competitive nature of your tournaments, or do you focus more on the community kind of, kind of, relaxed kind of atmosphere, to get people to. That's a hard question because I know it's both, and yeah. Everybody has those grinders. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to, hold the big checks up. But from what you said, you guys kind of answer that. You guys kind of put that focus on that camaraderie, on that community, which is pretty nice.
I would say like that. I mean, the underlying thread what ties all of us together, the community, and the people being able to work together. On the water, you still got, folks that have that competitive and want to do well, but, Bill and I both could come up with plenty of stories where, somebody was having trouble or having a bad day and somebody just pulled up next to him. Hey man, how's it going? Like, you doing okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Or, God forbid, we've had a couple of times where guys have flipped, and people have literally stopped what they're doing, anything related to the tournament, to help out and jump in. And, and the message goes out and it's like, hey, what can we do? Anybody got a couple extra rods we can give them? Can we give them gear, get them back in the game if they're willing to? So,
that's awesome.
I mean, everybody has like fun with the competitive nature, and we always want to, there's always this drive for the year to win an event and to be an AOY, because in both of these series leading up to this merger, it was bragging rights for sure, and it was something that you placed on the mantle and took pride in.
Sure.
But the fact that despite all of that, the Delaware Paddlesports finale, the get-togethers afterwards, the text and message groups you hear from all different guys, and everybody checking in and how'd you do, how'd it go today, like, and constantly, historically, and we'll see with some of the rule changes that are coming down the pipe now, but someone having a bad day or someone you see having a good day, text messages back and forth like, hey man, keep it up, that's awesome, like you're hammering them, or hey, you missed a few, but there's still plenty of time left, get back into it. So that's the thing I love the most, is the community. And I've got lifelong friends that I've made out of doing this.
Here's a good temperature check. I'll tell you this because you'll find this funny, Justin, since you're a TD. Run an event in August when it's 105 on the water. And tell me how many people come back to your award ceremony. I told that to a director in the South one day, and he was like, I get about 30% of my audience to come back. I'm like, then your culture's not there. We average 80 to 90% to come back. And so, and these are anglers that know they didn't win, because we don't shut our leaderboard off until 1 or 2 o'clock, depending on the event. They know they didn't win, but they come back just to hang out. If your anglers are coming back in that kind of weather, you're doing something right. You're doing something right, because they want to be there. They want to be there for the fellowship. They want to be there to talk and have a good time. And then the second thing that we use as a measurement tool, or at least I do internally, tell me how long you sit around after your award ceremony. If your award ceremony is done and you're loading your truck up in 5 minutes, that's not how it goes down to Mid-Atlantic. There's a lot of times Matt and me have to kick people out. It's like, hey, it's like 7 o'clock. The award ceremony was 3. We got to go home.
Right.
We got to go. But
or at least let's go get a bite to eat.
Let's go get something to eat. Let's direct them to the restaurant. So, but that's a good check,
That's
right?
awesome.
The competitive side will take care of itself. Inherently, it'll always take care of itself. It's making sure that you keep your hands around that, and not just adopt the competitive mindset and keep your hands around that family side of it, and try and continue to foster that as much as possible.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. I've been to so many other different trail events where it's done in a parking lot, and that's fine. That there's nothing wrong with that, but it's third place, second place, first place. All right, see ya. And it's just where's the fun in that? It's just you gotta make it exciting. You gotta make it comfortable for people to want to stay and talk. And I mean, it's networking. It's all what it is. And I think you guys get it. That's pretty cool. But so it could be this past year, it could be, you know, any year. I want to know from your perspectives, favorite tournament you've ever ran. You know,
Oh boy.
I know.
Um,
I know it's a very hard one. I know. That's why I gave you the questions in advance. You know, so you know.
to be honest, I don't read them. I'd rather shoot from the hip and be.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But no, because I feel, you know, and it could go from different angles. It could go, you know, do you have a, you know, a philanthropic, you know, hook to it that sank with you? You know, did you just have a great showing and amazing events afterwards? Did you, you know, you know, did you fish and you just did great? Like that's cool too. You know, um, yeah, just curious.
I can give you. I got to give you three. I can't give you
cool
just
with
one.
Yeah.
We ran an event. It was 2 years ago where their father and son took first and second place, and to see and the son won, and the father took second.
I love that.
And being a father myself, and knowing that there's going to come a time where my boys want to compete too. They're itching to do it now. Like just like dad emotions. I was like, this is great. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I won. I won an MAKBF and KBF event on the Upper Chesapeake. So from a personal standpoint, I won a trail event. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then knowing where we came from, the Mid-Atlantic, how small we were at one point in time, when we ran the native event on the Susquehanna last year, to know that we had made such an impact. MAKBF, DPS had made such an impact in the area that Native had come to us and said, hey, we want you and your club to be a part of this. And not only be a part of it for the years to come. You know, so we're running that event. MAKBF's running that event next year.
Oh, wow.
Probably the coolest thing, because that's like a huge. You get that phone call. It's the CEO of Native, and you're like, yeah, and he's like, man, you're making waves. We want you guys to do it. Let's do it, right? And so we're like, yeah. So, like that was the moment where I was like, okay, cool. It's fun to be a tournament director for this 15 minutes that we're on the phone. Then I got to go into panic mode trying to figure out how we're all going to put it together.
You got to make it work. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
so those would probably be my three most recent. I've probably enjoyed every event we've run, and we've had some difficult ones.
I'm sure.
We've had guys flip. We've had anglers upset for different reasons. We ran one. Matt, I think you were at the one. We kicked one off last year where it was snowing, raining, sleeting, icing, and it was blowing 20. And we're pretty steadfast on our rules as far as weather's related. And that was probably one of the first events I stayed up all night wondering what the right call was. Run the event, don't run the event, keep it going, don't keep it going. Sure. And fortunately, there's with a team of us, everyone can chime in, and it's not just my opinion. It's five of our opinions, and we came to a collective and a decision. But yeah, yeah, that was a moment where I was like, okay, cool. Like what we've built here is good. We have a foundation that can withstand it all.
How about you, Matt?
Two events that come to mind, I think a lot of fun to run and be a part of. I think it was 2019 maybe. We ran an event on the Potomac, and we did a joint event with another group, NVKBA here in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
And Mike and I were working on it together, and we had around 65 or 70 anglers, I think.
Great
showing. At that point, I was just doing PD. I was barely fishing. But we got everybody launched off. I went to the local McDonald's, breakfast and Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I judged fish nonstop from the time I got over there until the time I left to come back for awards. And I drove back to awards, set everything up as quick as I could, and pulled my laptop back out and started judging fish again. And I think it was that tournament. That was one of the early tournaments we did with Tourney X, which was one of the brilliant moves we did, was moving there. But
where were you before?
We were using the same platform that KA and River Bassin was.
Sure.
So
Okay.
I had not realized that I get an email for every fish submission as a PD.
Yeah.
And I think I looked down at it and I had like 300 emails for fish. And I mean, I got back and people were like, "How you doing?" Like, "We're tired." I was like, I'm tired of looking at fish, to be honest. It was the first time
Yeah.
I could ever say like I was actually tired of looking at fish. But it was to see everybody come back, because everybody was catching fish, everybody was upgrading. It was just a blowout. It was a ton of fun to be back at the ramp with everybody coming in, because everybody had a blast.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's a pain in the butt when you're a tournament director, and of course you're like you works out that you're like the only one that's available to grade right that day, and then all of a sudden you get you get like a
Yep.
billion fish coming in. It's a pain, and there's your day. But you know going through all of those fish, you know that everybody's gonna be happy, and like
Oh yeah.
it's just gonna this is going to be a day that people remember, and and you made that schedule right because you picked that
Yep.
like at the right time.
It was awesome. And
That's
then the other event I remember was there was a young man that had messaged us. I think he was 15 years old, and said he wanted to come out and fish with us. And we were at one of the reservoirs in Maryland. And I said, you can come out. You got to sign the waiver. You got to have an adult with you.
awesome.
And he
Mhm.
came out, and his mom came out and paddled with him
Yeah.
all day. And he made some of the rookie mistakes. He caught a couple of good fish, and we had to DQ him and everything.
Mhm.
But that season, we had a paddle sponsor. We had Werner Paddles, and they
Okay.
were giving away a basic paddle every event for us. And we gave the event, we gave the paddle away to the guy who won first place, Jed Plunkert, who was an AOI for us for about 4 seasons in a row. He's
Okay. Yeah.
as good as they come. But he turned around and gave that paddle to that young man. And to have somebody at that level who is,
Yeah.
when he went to the KBF National Championship, he placed in the top 5 2 back-to-back years, and just, but an unbelievable person. And to see the kid's face light up and be so appreciative and just have the time to talk to Jed about fishing and asking questions and
Yeah.
being around all of us, that was one of those just special moments as a TD and somebody that's involved with a series that just makes everything you're doing worth it.
Well said. Yeah, definitely. That's a pretty cool uh, storyline to be around. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's what it's all about. It's about helping the next, the up and comers, the new beginners, and and creating that environment that people can feel comfortable at coming back, right?
Yeah.
Um, awesome. So I know talk about you guys can talk a little bit about your specific roles, kind of what you do, and what goes into getting a tournament going. Pick a tournament, any tournament, and what do you specifically as your roles? What do you guys do kind of to get ready for it?
You want to start or you want me to, Bill?
Oh Lord.
Well, here, I'll give the simple stuff and then you can dive in after that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm at the role, for a number of years I was running the series, and I always had folks around me, just like Bill said, having people around you is great.
Yeah.
So in the past, I've done everything from reaching out to sponsors to working on sites, working on permits, getting everything lined up with dates and trying to work out a schedule and timing. And now I'm kind of part of the team. Aaron's our president, but as a team, we all work together. So, like,
Right.
once the season ended back in October, we immediately started talking about schedule, location. So we've worked a lot as a team. We've done a lot of that, and we've talked about, Bill had a lot of good amazing goals. He had a lot of great ideas, and we kind of said, hey, here's some sponsors we want to reach out to. Here's some things we want to do, and Bill has got a lot of that rolling. We released our schedule as a group, and we worked around. We did a really good job. We've got, as you said, with the networking between the folks on the leadership group, and some of the folks that are close to the leadership group, we have a lot of contacts with different trails and series, whether it's national, local, and we did a really good job of working with or around those schedules.
Mhm.
Because as Bill said, we're partnering up with a native event. We're also working with KBF in the April to be on Potomac.
Nice.
So as a group, we've put the schedule together. We've had meetings and talked about some of the rules. Is there anything we want to tweak and adjust? And we're also going to have some meetings coming up based on, all the national series who we partner with coming down with their rules. How are we going to interpret those or adapt or modify those for our local series? So, and, Bill has been working tirelessly throughout the winter, as he said, talking to everybody and their mother, and he's been huge in the sponsorship game. So, and I'll let
Matt's
him.
so humble. He's so humble. Matt's our voice of reason. Matt's the guy that's in our meeting. And look, from a professional side outside of fishing, it's kind of what I do, relationships and business relationships, so on and so forth. So it's just natural for me to take on the sponsorship. But I'm also a dreamer. I can get on a meeting and go, this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 blah. And Matt's our voice. Matt's like, oh, Bill, easy. I'm like, but Matt, blah, 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 blah. Bill, just take a deep breath here, bud.
I like
it. And that's what's unique about our trail. Everyone has we don't have to define spots. And that's when you've picked the right team to be around you. When you don't have to define, you have to define a present. You got to give a guy the top so that if someone's really mad, me and Matt don't have to deal with it. It's like, here, talk to Aaron. That's the boss man. You talk to him. But everything else, if you've picked the right people, you got the right people around you. And God bless the tournament directors that don't have teams. God bless them, because I don't know how you could do it.
Yeah. No.
People will naturally find where they fit, and they'll excel at that, right? Matt's very humble because we haven't made a couple announcements, but Matt's going to be very pivotal in some of the steps as we start to release a lot of the changes that we've done, right? I take on the sponsorship side, large part of it, just because it's what I've done. With the old series, I handled all of the social media. Anyone sees this from Delaware Paddlesports, I'm the guy that would jump on and make silly videos and jump around and huge announcements and so on. And I did the same thing for Native too, right? I enjoy that entertainment side of the atmosphere, right?
He says silly videos, but if you talk to all the anglers in the different groups, everybody goes, man, did you see Bill's latest video? It's great, So they're
Thanks,
welcomed with open arms by everybody.
Love it.
People watch videos, they don't read posts. I hate to tell you, and for any new tournament director that's watching this as maybe a recipe, look at your analytics, my analytics. I'll show you any day of the week. Videos absolutely get an attention rate much higher than any written post we've ever done. And I don't care if that written post says Merry Christmas. We get more attention on videos and more content and the message gets deeper and farther out than anything else. But as far as that, I take on the sponsorship side. This year, everyone's just kind of found their spot. We don't have to identify anything. And that's when you have the right group.
Yeah, I agree. Looks like we might have lost Matt, at least his camera a little bit. So we'll see if he pops on in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. What's next?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll pop him down, and then if he comes back, we'll put him back up.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, you talked a little bit about the workload that you do, during the fact. I love that everybody kind of finds their piece. Having the right team, to share that workload for everybody to kind of get together and to kind of mesh well is so pivotal, and especially in kind of running a well-oiled machine, right? Business volunteer aspects, anything it's really important. But just kind of like jumping ships a little bit, for people. There he is. All right, here he goes. Welcome back, Matt. But so I want to touch base a little bit more about behind the scenes kind of work, from both of your perspectives, and you can answer this, separately and everything. What's one thing that you wish people knew about what it took to be a tournament director for the club? What's that one thing that you don't want to be out there, preaching and kind of playing your little violin or whatever, but you just want people to kind of have a little appreciation for.
I
Go
got
ahead,
two that
Matt.
are kind of a top. There's a lot of stuff that I think people there's a lot of folks that do realize, but there's a lot of the folks that I think just kind of overlook it. One, this is all volunteer because we love the sport and we want to be able to share it with others and provide a good place for others to go. So, it's all volunteer, and
Yeah.
even on the minor scale that I'm participating at this point with the hours, the number of hours and the amount of work that goes into this, because even if it's not scheduled meetings on a regular basis, I can't even tell you that we started a group in October, November for the leadership group, and it's the thousands of messages back and forth, so there's
Yeah.
just the work and the time that we put into this to try and put out a good product and make, do we want to make everybody happy and enjoy it? Because that makes us feel good to be able to have the folks that come up after an event and say, hey man, that was a great event.
Yeah.
Like, we had a good time. It went off great. So yeah,
Well said.
volunteering.
My wife, I love her to death. She's very supportive. She loves it and everything, but she has a really hard time grasping that I don't get a paycheck for the amount of work that I do for this little series. But yeah,
Yep.
so it's the struggle is real on that one.
I will second that, the hours. And I think some people know, right? I think some people have taken
Sure.
a want to understand, I want to know kind of thing, but I can't. And for any directors that are going to listen, they'll know I've been at dinner with my wife and family and taking calls the Friday before a tournament to answer questions and had to step out of dinner. I have been at a campground and judged fish for 4 hours while my kids are on the playground. All time that I happily give to the series, but there's a lot of time. Like Matt said it earlier, our series weren't even done and we were planning. We were already dealing with sponsors before we had even wrapped the original season. So much so that we had to all remind ourselves, like, we still got to finish the year that we're in.
Yeah.
Because we're already working hard for next year. The big thing I'd want people to know is you can't make everybody happy. And I'm going to tell you, and if you're listening to this and you're an angler, know that your TD spends countless hours dwelling over a schedule.
Yeah.
Is always probably one of the hardest decisions to make. And you have to make that decision for a lot of different reasons, but know that I've never met a tournament director in my life that takes a handful of darts, throws them at a map, and says, this is where we're going to go.
Exactly.
I counted one day, Matt was kind of bashful about it. We had and while I'm at work, between the hours of like 9 and noon, I had like 250 Facebook messages, people going back and forth about our schedule one day. And that's the amount of effort that 9 people put in to develop a 7-stop trail. And so we do our best to make sure that the bodies of water are at the right times, the right tides, the right opportunity. We're deconflicting from a national perspective. We're deconflicting from a holiday perspective. We're looking at Mother's Day. We're looking at Father's Day. We're looking at this holiday and that holiday. And okay, well, are people going to drive to Texas for this event? Are they going to drive to this? Okay, well, KA's got an event here. Let's avoid that. And There's so much that goes into it that I would love to put every body of water that every angler wants at their chosen time on a schedule. I would, because then I could make everyone happy and life would be great. But know that, God bless, we have done everything in our human power to make the schedule the best it can. And that'll break some TDs. It really will. It'll tear you apart, because no matter what you do and you put it out, someone's not happy.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's a for lack of a better term, that's a rookie move for a lot of tournament directors, first time tournament directors will make, is they get one person to voice some issue, and then they flip everything, and then they put everything on there, by the voice of one person, and then they just it's just the kiss of death. You have to remember that the voice of one very vocal person might not be the general consensus, or what's best for the team or the group. I think a lot of people, they forget about that when faced with confrontation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's switch gears just a little bit. I know you guys do a little bit of partnering with charitable causes, right? So I looked on your website. A portion of your entry fee goes to a charity that you guys talk about throughout the year, or how does that work?
So historically, over the years, Matt Bain originally started it. We did 10% towards an organization, which for a long time was Heroes on the Water.
Okay.
Basically, we contributed to every year. We made some changes. There was the local gentleman in Northern Virginia that was running Heroes on the Water, went out and did his own thing. He had a nonprofit for a couple of years, which is Bravo Zulu, which got us up, into, we'll say, the COVID years, since everybody dealt with.
Okay.
Since then, we've had more. The last couple of years, we did a year where we actually had an angler in our community that had some family health issues, that we took the money that year and contributed to them to help them out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then most recently we had a side pot going, which we called King of the Crank. We actually have a little statue that goes with it. And so everybody that contributed into that pot, whoever finished the highest in the tournament, got to determine where that money went to.
Love that.
So we went to organizations. Some people did, like Wounded Warrior. There was trying to name of the charity. There was one something with the 22 suicides with the Marines. There's a Mission 22, I think it's called. We had a few donations to that last year. So it was
I love that people can name it.
Yeah. So every month in every tournament, whoever finished the highest said, "Hey, I want whatever's contributed. That was $50, if it was $100, whatever it was. Hey, I want it to go to this charity," which we've had a lot of fun with. So moving forward, that's something that we're kind of still working on as a leadership group on how we want to handle that, because the prior charities that we had worked with specifically in the region are no longer in service. Yeah. So we're trying to adopt and modify that moving forward.
Now, was that something that kind of sat well? That was accepted really heavily by your community? Was that charitable aspect that they wanted? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody's gonna say no to that. You know what I mean? I just love the fact that people got to name where the pot went, and and it gave you guys a chance to kind of hope support other organizations that are closer to people's hearts and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's been great. I think for the first few years, and we have in both the Delaware Paddle Sports and the MAKBF series that are now merged into one, we have a lot of veteran presence. So we've got a lot of guys that have served in a variety of services. So when we were donating to Heroes on the Water in our local chapter, and even when it was Bravo Zulu, between the Virginia, Maryland region and Mid-Atlantic region, we had a lot of the folks that when they weren't tournament fishing on the weekends were actually going out and volunteering for those charities and being a part of their events and helping to get folks out on the water. So I mean, that was, easily accepted by everybody. And it was a lot of fun. For the years we were doing that, at the end of the season, we had like a dry erase check, and we would write out, Heroes on the Water. I think the one year, like the last year we did Heroes on the Water, we donated something like $1,500 that year, and then the next year for Bravo Zulu we donated like $2,000. So to get a group photo and have that check written out, everybody had a lot of fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's evolved into the weekly side or the monthly side pocket tournaments, people have had a lot of fun with that. Being able to say, "Hey, I wanted to go here or there."
So we're bringing back the charitable leg. Well, I shouldn't say bringing it back. We're continuing it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to some amazing sponsors that the anglers don't quite know about yet. Maybe we'll talk about a few of them tonight when we close down. We have found a way to remain 100% payout club and still maintain that charitable leg. So we just haven't announced it publicly. That's kind of why Matt's negotiating around it. We haven't.
That's fine. I don't want to get you guys in any trouble.
Yeah. We're not going to get in trouble. I mean, Aaron might call us and yell at us when he watches the podcast, but we've saved a lot of the announcements. We haven't made them all yet. It's not because they're not ready. I mean, we have the whole script written out and we know what we're doing. We're just ironing a few last pieces because when we come out, we want to have every piece that way because we want to do it in a format where it's live and anglers can ask questions like, "Hey, what does that mean?" Here's what it means. Sure. So we are continuing. If anyone sees us before we make the announcement, we are absolutely continuing the charitable leg. We are going to 100% payout. We will not be taking funds out of the angler entry money for the traditional series. So maybe that's awesome. A little hint.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Before that, I want to get in. I have your schedule queued up here. I want to highlight that a little bit and talk about what you guys are excited for this coming year a little bit. But first and foremost, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to, whatever. But are there any national, local sponsors and supporters that you guys do want to shout out and kind of highlight that they're making your series what it is, special?
Absolutely. I have a handful I'd like to acknowledge.
Please.
Now we will tell the anglers what this means as we move farther. But obviously Delaware Paddle Sports, if you don't know who Delaware Paddle Sports is, I think Matt and me would agree the premier retailer here in the Northeast. They have literally given twice of what we've ever asked for both series in the past. And then this year we kind of got a little crazy. It's like, well, ask for the moon and see what happens. And we asked for the moon. They're like, well, here's the moon and this and this. We just love you guys. We love what you're doing. We love the anglers. So Delaware Paddle Sports, the series they're our title sponsor. The series is brought to you by Delaware Paddle Sports. Native Watercraft, again, not only are we doing the event, Native Watercraft is working with the series from a sponsorship perspective. More details on that as we move forward. One of our own anglers, Trey Leach with Innovative Sportsman. If you got a Torpedo and you got a mount, you know what Innovative Sportsman is, or Rock Guard. Or, hey, if you don't know, Trey's rigging boats now. He's doing it all. He's got it all. He's got Torpedoes in the shop. He's got mounts. He's got Rock Guards. He's got everything. He's not just the guy that makes them out. I want to stress that because I think a lot of people think that in their mind. And I literally talked to Trey the other day, and he's like, Bill, I got like 20 boats I'm building right now. So he's a custom rigger, too, here in the Northeast. So huge thank you to him. You heard about it. Matt Baden, the founder of this series, the guy that brought you MAKBF. Matt Baden, First Home Mortgage, was the first sponsor to step up and say, what you guys are, because they know the details. They know what's getting ready to happen. He said, what you guys are getting ready to do is absolutely outstanding. He's in. And then Boondocks. So anyone that knows Boondocks has the car carriers, they have the carts, they have the wheels, they have all kinds of great things. I run Boondocks rudders on every one of my Native Watercrafts. Great company. The guys over there, the owner and me have been talking. They're stepping up in a big way. And that's just a box of super sponsors. We'll put it that way.
I like it.
So we have a whole host of other groups or companies that we work with, Yak Attack, Carver Covers, Covercraft, you name it, Warner Paddles, Bending Branches. We're working with a bunch of different rod companies this year, Ducket Fishing, you name it. iRod's been a big supporter of the series for years. They're coming back to hang out with us. So there's a lot of sponsors, but that Super 5 right now is the first 5 that we talked about.
I like it. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a great lineup you guys got. So let me, I'm going to share this screen here. See if I can do this. Again, I'm learning as I go. All right. We got John Candy over there too, so you guys are just gonna have to watch him laugh because he's been on my other screen for the whole this whole recording. So I've been watching him laugh over and over again. That was awesome. So yeah, you guys walk us through the schedule for the upcoming year.
Matt, why don't you take the first couple? They're your sweet spots.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, the Potomac River, you know, despite what some folks say, I mean, it's a great fishery. Springtime, you know, fish moving in. There's always a ton of fish caught. It's just a matter of where you're going to finish in the process. So that's an event where KBF is coming in for the National Trail. So we're going to hold it the same weekend. Rappahannock River, that's something new we haven't done before. So that's going to be a whole new experience. It's been a long time since I fished down there. So we're looking to get out, you know, but one thing to say too, it's interesting because on our schedule you see a lot of river, but there's a lot of, we're lucky enough in this region to have a lot of windows where you can push the boundaries. So you can have smallmouth kind of in the northern end, and then the southern end is some tidal water with largemouth.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how you like to fish and what you want to do, we've got some areas where any style can fit in. So Rappahannock River, the boundaries there, all the boundaries need to be finalized, but we're looking at having smallmouth and largemouth there. And then Delaware River is the same thing. We're going to have smallmouth options and some largemouth options. I've never actually fished the Delaware River, so I'm excited for that because it's something new. Always like exploring new water.
All right.
And then, I mean, the mighty Susquehanna. I mean, the Susquehanna has been a staple on our schedule for a long time, and if you like chasing smallmouth, you know, it's arguably one of the best places in the world to go chase smallmouth because, you know, when you can average a 15 to 16 inch smallmouth and on a regular basis pull 18, 19s out and even some 20s, and I like to call them, imagine putting a Hulk in a smallmouth body. They are just angry little beasts that fight to no end. They are a ton of fun.
Hard to beat that body of water right there.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pick up from there. So then we go from the Susquehanna to Lake Knox and mixing up in PA. A lot of people recognize that name. That's where Ike ran his first couple charity events out of Knox and Mixon. Great largemouth fishery, some awesome fish in there. Gives anglers a lake perspective to look at. And then there's a river on here that a lot of people aren't going to recognize. That's the Pocomoke River. And that's on there for one specific reason. And so for any seasoned tournament directors, we ran an event out there last year, and all but 2 anglers, I think we had 30 or 35 participating in that event. There was an off-weather day. All but 2 anglers caught a limit. It was the perfect, right, from a tournament director perspective, it was a slugfest. Now, we didn't have 100, 105-inch bags, but everyone caught 5 fish, and the anglers were enamored with it. It's a slow-moving river. It's easy to navigate. There's flooded cypress in there. It's a great opportunity to go out and play the river with a little bit of tides, but go out there with the understanding that you're going to catch fish, right? Yeah. Throw what you're comfortable with, do what you want to do, so on and so forth. And then that last one on there is Tournament of Champions. It's a 2-day event. That will be an earned entry. You'll have to earn into that. Okay. I'll say it here. Aaron, you can get mad at me if you hear it. That is going to be a guaranteed payout with 0 entry. So once you've earned your right into the Tournament of Champions, there will be a select group of anglers. We're not going to announce the number yet, but once you've earned in there, there will be a guaranteed payout, and it will be 0 entry. It will be 2 days. I'll tell you right now, we haven't solidified it, but we're thinking maybe smallmouth on day one, largemouth on day two, or vice versa. Really teasing everyone's strengths, right? Because we have some really strong largemouth fishers and we have some really strong smallmouth guys. And hey, with the ability in the Northeast and especially in the Mid-Atlantic where you can put guys on two different bodies of water in a really close proximity and they can fish for both, why not see who comes out and takes home a guaranteed pot of money?
I love that. So talk a little bit more about like the nuts and bolts of the trail series. Is it do you have to be a member? Is it open to the public? You know, how does somebody find an event to sign up? You know.
So it's open to the public. We do have a membership fee. It's more of an operational fee now. Like I said earlier, we're a 100% payout club, so that money rolls right into an AOI pot or rolls into the TOC, wherever it goes. But that money is used for permits and different things like that, right?
Sure.
So there is an entry or a membership fee. We do offer kids discounts. We're going to offer LEO, first responder discounts, military, veterans discounts. It's the first time we've done that, but we want to give back to that community and give them that opportunity. And then the easiest way to find us is always going to be social media. And I think that's for most clubs, right? Facebook's the easiest place to find us. You can facebook.com/MAKBF, or you can join our group page and be a part of the family there. We have a website too, www.makbf.com. You can find us on Tourney X, search MAKBF. I mean, we're in all the spots. But if you want the most real-time information, Facebook's always going to be the best place to go to. You'll probably get to see my face, and Matt's. You're going to see Matt's face for sure because I'm not doing all the videos this year. But Matt and Alex are going to be on there. We got something really special planned for the winners of the events that Matt and Alex will be a part of. So anticipate when you come to the pages, it's going to be very interactive, right? It's going to have a lot of information, a lot of opportunity, a lot of highlighting the anglers and the sponsors here in the Northeast. So that's really the nuts and bolts. There is a membership fee. That money comes back to all the anglers when it's all said and done, right? It's used for the operational expense because remember, we do this as a volunteer standpoint. And every year, Matt, myself, Aaron, Alex, we've all put our money in anyways. We end up putting money in it somehow. Someone picks up pizzas, someone picks up sodas. This operational expense covers some of that and then goes out to the anglers at the end of the year, right? Nice. We keep $0 from a club perspective for anything else. 100% off the books when it's all said and done.
And that makes 100%. That makes sense completely.
Yeah, and awesome. I don't fault any clubs that do it different. That's the way we've chosen. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this show is not to put anybody down. It's just highlighting, you know, what makes each individual trail special and different. And nobody's saying that it's their way or the highway. It's just that's the way they do it, and that's all. That's nothing. So closing up, guys, I just want to know. I want to look forward. We saw the schedule. We kind of heard a little bit about some cool secrets that are on the horizon. I'm excited for you guys for that. I'll be watching specifically personally to see what's rolling. But without giving anything away, without getting too much in trouble, you know, what are you looking forward to the most for the 2023 season? Yeah, come on.
Blowing the anglers' doors off. Yeah, I mean, I think blowing the anglers' doors off because, you know, as a group and with Bill's amazing ideas and a lot of what everybody's chimed in and done, it's in the organization. It's going to be a fun season. We've got some new bodies of water. We've got a whole new, I don't want to say a whole new approach to things, but we've got some things that are going to be surprises that are going to be a lot of fun for the anglers. Looking forward to bringing new folks on, getting the competition going. And after sitting here talking for an hour, I'm ready to go fish.
Yeah, I know, right?
I will tell you, I am probably most excited that we have retained the authenticity of both of the series. We've retained their heritage. We've blended them together so that the best parts of both series, you know, I think a lot of people were concerned that this was going to happen. We've taken the best parts of both series, put them together, and built something really, really cool that will give opportunities to the angler who's never fished before, who wants to fish their first tournament and is afraid to, because let's be honest, sometimes you roll into a parking lot of an event and everyone's got trailers and everyone's got torpedoes, and that guy shows up. And we had a guy show up with an inflatable last year that he bought, I think, from Cabela's. It was like a raft kind of thing. And the look on his face when everyone's dropping PA-14s with side scan and all this stuff. And he's just like, oh my God, we changed that. And so we were going to give that guy an opportunity to compete and feel comfortable. So that's number one. Number two, we didn't forget about our high-end competitive anglers and all the guys that want to compete. I'll paraphrase it like this. We're going to make it financially behoove you to be at all the events. We will have numbers on checks that this area has probably never seen before.
Nice.
And I'll leave it. I'll stop there.
That's a great soundbite right there.
But we're going to, for any anglers that happen to be an MNKBF angler watching this, the hotel room's worth the price. We'll leave it at that.
I like it.
So that's what I'm most excited. Huge opportunity for every caliber of angler, and for the anglers that don't get to travel to the national series, some of them will have an opportunity to win national level money here at home.
It's big time. That's big time. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for highlighting Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, and my first guest.
So
I will always remember you guys. No, but hey, anybody that you guys personally or professionally want to give shout outs to, and that support you guys both personally or go for it.
Go ahead, Matt.
I mean, the series itself, just the rest of the leadership team. Bill mentioned them all off earlier. I mean, the rest of the leadership team that's not on here, the angler advocates, even the English as a group, I mean, we wouldn't be here without them. For myself personally, been working with, I've been on the Jackson team, for a year and a half or so now, which has been amazing. And then Rod, I mean, the Matt Newman out there runs a great shop, and I love those rods. And he's been great to our series ever since he came on, and we really appreciate it. And then, I mean, Delaware Paddlesports. I've been going to Delaware Paddlesports since we started the series, basically. And I mean, those guys are basically family at this point. They're an amazing shop, an amazing group of guys, and we appreciate everything they do for us.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I couldn't say it any better. It's a huge thank you to the anglers. That's why we're here. If the anglers weren't a part of it, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. Huge thank you to them. Huge thank you. And look, I get sometimes we have bad opinions, sometimes we have good opinions, but opinions are opinions, right? And so I appreciate all the feedback we've gotten. It's definitely helped scope 2023. Huge thank you to the people that I mentioned earlier. I mean, without them, they've done so much heavy lifting for us that we wouldn't be where we're at today. And then for me personally, fortunately, I can't rock the Jackson logo. I rock the Native logo, so thank you to Native Watercraft, Dakota Lithium, Drake Waterfowl, and Drake Performance Fishing, and then Delaware Paddlesports. Matt said it best. If you haven't walked in that shop, I can't even explain to you the feeling when you walk in. Whether they know you or not, you are instantly family. And they will remember you for they take whether you're buying a rudder cable or you're buying 2 kayaks, whatever, they take every interaction serious. They treat every customer above and beyond. I can't tell you how many times people that don't know that I'm affiliated with them come up to me and they're like, oh my God, let me tell you about my experience. So Brian, Billy, John, and everyone down there, they're just absolutely outstanding. For me personally, for the series, for the anglers in the area. I mean, we couldn't have a better shop here.
Well, guys, thanks again. I'll let you guys go. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining me.